TomoNews presents Twitter.
Conan O'Brien sued for Twitter joke theft. Our favorite late-night funny man, Conan O'Brien, and his production company, Conaco LLC, are the target of a lawsuit filed by a San Diego man claiming Conan stole his jokes. Robert Caseberg says he is a comedy writer and that Conan stole a total of 4 jokes from his Twitter feed this year. Although the original post has been removed for some reason, Caseberg says that on January 14th he posted a joke on his blog, which read, "A Delta flight this week took off from Cleveland to New York with just 2 passengers, and they fought over control of the armrest the entire flight." Later that night, Conan said this in his monologue.
On Monday, a Delta flight from Cleveland to New York took off with just 2 passengers. 2 passengers on the whole plane. Yet somehow they spent the whole flight fighting over the armrest.
Oof, that's remarkably similar. It's not impossible to see why Caseberg would want credit and compensation. Writing is one of the last Hollywood jobs that can't be computer generated, but competition for work is still fierce. So when you've got a joke that works, that tweet is solid gold, metaphorically speaking. But Caseberg thinks his tweets are gold literally speaking and is suing Conan for $600,000, or $150,000 per joke. TV shows routinely pay outside writers a nominal fee for jokes like Caseberg's, which Conan should have done in this case. Caseberg's jokes are worth something, but not $600,000. He'll probably be happy with the settlement and the fresh name recognition this suit will bring. But maybe that's a bunch of quitter talk. Conan's longtime co-host Andy Richter tweeted defiance. Hope you're right, Andy.
Teenager gets fired over Twitter and the interwebs have a field day. For the average American teen, there's always a time when working a part-time after-school or weekend job is a reality. The jobs teens are given aren't the most glamorous, but hey, it does give them a taste of the real world while giving them a few $100 a month to hang out without begging mommy and daddy for gas money. A real life lesson learned. But one Dallas area teen named Sella chose to voice her disdain for her newfound gig on Twitter, and promptly got a lesson in proper social media discourse handed to her by her almost boss. That boss, Robert Wapple, is the owner of Jet's Pizza in Mansfield, Texas. Now, he hadn't used Twitter in the last 6 years, but after being tipped off about Celia's lack of enthusiasm for her new job, he had no problem logging on. That prompted some folks out there to question the obvious. Now, for her sake, Celia's initial tweet didn't mention Jet's Pizza at all, and to me it seems as if her First Amendment rights may have been stepped on. But she seems unfazed by the whole affair because of her Twitter follower count going up. She seems to have learned another lesson from this, also called the Streisand effect. However, I hope she didn't really need the money. I don't think any of her new followers would send her a bi-weekly paycheck.
College roommates' petty fight goes viral on Twitter. The fight between 2 college roommates at Penn State went viral on Twitter. It began when student Jessica Taylor discovered a number of subtweets, which, for those of you not in the know, are negative posts about a particular person without actually identifying them. They were written by her roommate, Nicki Minaj. Minaj had tweeted that within 2 weeks she already hates her roommate. She also wrote that at one point she cried at the idea of finally having a good roommate when another friend offered to be her roommate next year. Offended, Taylor took revenge, retweeting the subtweets and printing them out to post in their room. That's when things got crazy. The spat continued in text messages over Taylor's weed habit. Minaj was annoyed at the fact that Taylor kept marijuana in their room. At one point, police had searched the room. Taylor blamed Minaj for the incident, and while Minaj said she did report the issue to the resident advisor, she denied calling the police. Twitter users began chiming in, some in support of Taylor, posting images of Minaj drinking and asking if her habit was tolerable. Ah, the traditional stoner versus drunk battle. Minaj has since been staying in another room on the same floor. Taylor did tweet she meant to move out but decided to stay. Hopefully now, the girls are smoking and drinking and tweeting in peace.
Belgians bust out cat memes to help take down terrorists. In Belgium, a manhunt continues to track down suspected terrorist Salah Abdeslam. and others involved in the November 13th attacks on Paris. With reason to believe more plots could unfold at any moment, authorities in Brussels put the word out to the public to limit information about police operations in the city, so as not to tip off the bad guys. On Twitter, the hashtag Brussels Lockdown was initially filtering news updates, but in true internet fashion, it began filtering, yep, cats. It supposedly all started when a local cameraman named Hugo Jansen tweeted out, instead of tweets about police activity in Brussels, here's a picture of our cat, Mozart. Others must have seen this and decided to keep the kitty strike moving, posting pictures of their own cats with a little comedic commentary mixed in for fun. Some chose to toy with the idea of playing it safe, like Twitter user @StephO'Keefe, while others opted to act as backup for the police, like Twitter user @TowerSight. And then there were those who decided to take aim at the terrorists themselves, like Twitter user @JFlemin, who sent out a breaking photo of the police's main suspect. And he wasn't the only one either. In a short burst of time, the funny felines have demonstrated yet again why they're still able to sit so snug upon the internet's mighty throne. And even as Brussels currently remains on high alert, at least these tweets were able to pump some fresh laughter back into the world.
Taylor Swift squashes Twitter beef with Nicki Minaj. Taylor Swift is ready to end the pretend beef that exploded over Twitter this week over some meaningless tweets between the pop star and rapper Nicki Minaj. The country/pop singer apologized in under 140 characters for the exchange that occurred earlier in the week, in which Swift felt she was being singled out by Nicki when Minaj went on a Twitter rant about not getting nominated for Video of the Year for MTV's VMAs. I thought I was being called out. I missed the point. I misunderstood, then misspoke. I'm sorry, Nicki. Swift tweeted out last night. That means so much, Taylor. Thank you, Minaj tweeted. I've always loved her. Everyone makes mistakes. She gains so much more respect from me. Let's move on. So now it looks like the only one still angry is Katy Perry and her grammatically challenged tweet from the other day calling out Swift. Apparently nothing is happening in the business world because Fortune magazine wrote an article on the fake feud, while Piers Morgan actually went on television to talk about this nonsense. As for Minaj, she went on to clarify her initial Twitter comments on Instagram, but we're not going to bore you with the details.
What a bunch of snowflakes. A social media manager for a Maryland school district was recently fired for being sassy on Twitter, the victim of higher-ups with sticks up their asses. The hullabaloo began after a student sent a tweet to the Frederick County Public Schools account, asking if school would be canceled the next day, but misspelling the word tomorrow. Account manager Katie Nash replied in jest, asking how the student would learn to spell the word correctly if school was closed. The spectacular burn lit up the Twitterverse, with netizens very amused by Katie's quip. The student didn't take it personally, and even continued with the harmless banter. But clearly the uptight pansies that make up the school board did, since they fired Nash for her inappropriate tweets. Naturally, the firing led to a social media uproar, with Twitter users coming to Nash's defense and students clamoring to get her back. Nash has been surprisingly chill about being sacked, and says she understands where the school's coming from. Though, really, they couldn't have counseled or given her suggestions instead.
Bots in the Twitter sphere. News of Russian-linked Twitter bots retweeting Trump during the 2016 election called into question just how much of social media is being manipulated by non-human actors. But while a new study confirms the pervasiveness of automated accounts on the Twitterverse, it also finds there's less political bias there than most of us think. Bots are applications that execute automated tasks. This can refer to applications like Alexa or Siri, or programs with more malicious intentions like viruses. On Twitter, bots are software-controlled accounts capable of tweeting or retweeting without direct human input. A recent Pew Research Center study that analyzed 1.2 million tweeted links found that only 1/3 were sent by humans. The rest were posted by suspected bots. The study found that 66% of tweeted links to sites covering news were shared by bots, compared to 90% for adult sites, 76% for sports, and 73% for commercial products. Interestingly, the bot's link-sharing behavior wasn't slanted toward a specific political stance. The number of links to sites shared by liberals was roughly the same as to those shared by conservatives. It's worth noting that the researchers didn't assess the accuracy of material being shared or distinguish between good and bad bots, which means it's still unclear how useful or problematic Twitter bots actually are.
I am Jack's non-existent edit button. You know the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Try telling that to Twitter. Originally designed to be no longer than a text, the 140-character tweet has helped topple dictators and get reality show hosts elected president. On Tuesday, November 7th, 2017, that era came to an end. From now on, all Twitter users, prolific twits included, have 280 characters to play with. And so far, it's totally led to more creative intellectual expression and informed political debate. Twitter reportedly tested it with a small group of users. 5% of tweets from the group wrote beyond 140 characters, 2% made it past 190. Now that's a company that listens to its users. Also gone is the character counter. That's replaced with a circle that goes from blue to orange and then red as you reach 280 characters. Because seeing red on Twitter really helps, right? We haven't managed to get there, but word is when you do, you'll get the Nobel Prize in Twitterature. I am Jack's failing free speech platform. Twitter has decided to go the way of the dodo. On Monday, the San Francisco-based company began deleting accounts that they deem hateful or violent under new rules. But what about free speech? Twitter's a private company, Tomo Sapiens, and can censor as it pleases. No First Amendment protections here. Certain groups on all sides of the supremacy rainbow were kicked off the platform. Reportedly, those removed included the New Black Panthers, the American Nazi Party, as well as users from British far-right group Britain First. But by closing these accounts, America's Weibo is just drawing more attention to these people and their screwball ideologies. Elsewhere, Gab-I, a self-described pro-free speech platform like Twitter, is reportedly gulping up ex-Twitterers and new users from the left, right, and center.
Oh, snap. Snapchat is definitely not keeping up with the Kardashians, and it's costing them more than $1 billion. The company recently redesigned the app to make it more user-friendly, and ended up doing the exact opposite. People found the update annoying, so much so, they petitioned to get rid of it on change.org. Queen Snapchat Kylie Jenner didn't seem to like it either, and called it quits. Her shady tweet on Wednesday pretty much summed it up. With the Queen out of Snap, it was only a matter of time before the millennials noticed and decided to say bye, Felicia. The Kylie tweet dominoed all the way to Wall Street, where Snap's market value took a dive to the tune of $1.3 billion. That's gotta hurt. Guess you might want to keep up a little bit with the Kardashians.